Hello, welcome to this short video on hosting your interest group on Zoom. It's part 5 of a suite of 5 short videos intended for use by interest group conveners, leaders and facilitators. It may also be of interest to u3a interest group coordinators and indeed possibly to u3a national subject advisors. What I'm going to do in this video is really take you through a very quick run round key Zoom host controls and the steps you need to take to be able to utilize all of the fantastic resources that are available from YouTube. It may be worth mentioning that there are several photographs in this presentation and they're all either from u3a stock photographs from National u3a or indeed from photographs from Carlton and Gedling u3a, my u3a. So what I'm going to cover in this video about Zoom are some key host controls, notably share screen, the use of the participants list, muting everybody, chat, breakout rooms and record. And basically it's obvious that actually we're not going to do a very detailed Zoom tutorial, but I'm pleased to say that there are a huge number of u3a resources and tutorials to help you get the best out of Zoom, and you can look at events on the u3a website or indeed check out the u3a website by following this link. What I'm going to do here is just really talk about some really simple controls, and for me as an interest group convener, actually the most useful one is share screen, and you'll be glad to know that there is another short video in this suite of videos which is just about the use of the share screen facility within Zoom. But thinking about the other key controls for interest group conveners, obviously you need to be able to see who's in your group, and that's in the participants control. And if you bring that up, you can see who's in the group, and it also gives you the opportunity to mute people or indeed to share the hosting with other people, all sorts of things. But basically that's in the participants control. Part of the participants control is mute all, and I have to say that's a pretty useful control to have, particularly if you're showing an amazingly sensitive piece of music or perhaps an opera. You really don't want one of your participants to have their telephone going or somebody knocking at their front door. So being able to mute people is really a key control. Chat is a very useful control in the sense that whilst a meeting is going on, whilst a Zoom meeting is progressing, people can send text messages either to the whole of the group or indeed to a named individual, a private message within the group. Breakout rooms, I find breakout rooms really helpful because, for example, if you're a group of 15, 20, 25, 30 people, it is, with the best will in the world, difficult to have a relaxed conversation. So breakout rooms, which are an automatic facility, you can divide people into as small groups as you like, and it really does aid social discussion. It's an essential part of the wine bar that I run for my u3a on Zoom. And then of course there's the record button should you wish to record your Zoom interest group meeting, and that's pretty useful, for example, if you want to make available to somebody who's missed an important meeting that they can catch up and see the meeting. But I mean, that's all I'm going to say really about Zoom controls. There are only a handful that are really important. Of course, you can study it, you can become a real expert in Zoom, but basically all of these controls are explored and explained in the u3a resources, which I've already mentioned. Let's just go to that slide. So there we are, u3a resources. Okay, next question. So the question remains, well, what are you going to share in your interest group? You don't have to share anything. You may just want to meet up and talk. But what I think makes interest groups interesting is the ability to share different things, documents, photographs, and so forth. Basically, the answer is you're probably going to want to share all sorts of things, but some of them may well be video clips that you've found on YouTube. Okay, so let's just have a little think about the controls that you need for YouTube. Well, basically, YouTube is a great resource on videos. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me. You look for something one week, and then a week later, there's even more on the same subject. So basically, YouTube is a really fantastic source of resource for u3a interest groups. I do, in a very brief summary, go through the process of setting up a YouTube account in another video, which is get yourself online in 5 simple steps. But basically, to access and utilize YouTube videos, you will need a YouTube account. To get a YouTube account, you will also need a Google account, but they're very simple to set up. 2 minutes to do both. Once you have an account, you will have a YouTube channel, and with a YouTube channel, you can create your own playlists. For more information, I do suggest that you might look at the part 2 video, Get Your Group Online in 5 Simple Steps. Now, a word about copyright. Copyright is complicated. It's very complicated if you were thinking of making a recording using source material made by other people and without their permission, and if you were thinking of posting it publicly on the internet where anyone could find it. If you were thinking of doing that, I would say probably don't, but in any case, you definitely need to read the advice which is mentioned on this slide. However, the good news is that it's rather less complicated for the sorts of educational purposes that we're talking about in a live, private u3a interest group of the sort that we're discussing. But in either case, have a look at the advice. There's a link to the advice on the slide. Just to quickly remind us that there are other videos in this short set. The first one is Zoom, Why Should I Bother? The second one is Get Online in 5 Simple Steps. The third one is Zoom screen sharing for u3a interest groups. The fourth one is Zoom for every u3a interest group, where I attempt to demonstrate that you can even do Scottish country dancing online. And then there is the present video. Okay, so over to you with the very best of luck for setting up your new online u3a interest group. I'm Paul Martinez. I convene several interest groups, and I would really be very grateful to receive any feedback you care to share with me. And there is an email address on this slide where you can send your feedback. Thanks very much. Good luck with your new group.